Alright guys, we are actually going to do lesson 20 and 21 on this video because lesson 20 is actually rather simple. It's actually kind of similar to just the beginnings of basic fractions where you just label the part that's shaded. So I think once I show you the first one or two for lesson 20, you'll be able to walk your way through it pretty easily. So I'm going to do a little bit for 20. And then I'm gonna show you a little bit more in depth in lesson 21 because 21 is a little bit trickier. And then I'll have like certain parts that I'll just have you finish up on your own. Okay, so I am on 21st on page 85. So go to page 85. And then I'm going to look here at these directions. It says label what fraction of each shape is shaded, then circle the fractions that are equal. You're going to start to hear, now that we're getting more into fractions that are equal, you're going to start to hear the word equivalent to. Equal and equivalent mean the exact same thing. So it doesn't call them that yet in here, but I just wanted to point that out. So if you start to hear that as we go further into equivalent fractions, it's just a synonym for it. Okay, so basically each one all the way across, you're just labeling, I'm just gonna write it like below it or something, what fraction is shaded, and then second step, circle the ones that are equal. So that should be pretty simple. So let's, here, 1, 2, 3, 4 are shaded. Remember the numerator is how much is shaded, and then how many are there total? 2, 4, 6, 8. So 4/8 are shaded. Okay, and then let's look at this one. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 shaded out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that one is also 4/8. This one, let's see, 1, 2, 3. 3 for my numerator, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this one is 3/8. And last one, 1, 2, 3, 4 shaded out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're all eighths. Okay, so I did my first step, and then don't forget second step. Circle the fractions that are equal. So obviously, if I back this up, all the ones that are 4/8 are equal, so I just circle all the ones that are 4/8. And then leave that 3/8 alone. Okay, so B, let's see, 1, 2 shaded out of, let's see how many there are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2/5 is shaded. This one, obviously I already can tell it's not going to be equal because there's only one shaded instead of two, but you know, 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1/5. Okay, same thing here, 1, 2. How many are there total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2/5. And 1, 2 shaded out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2/5. So let's see what's equal. 2/5, 2/5, 2/5. Same as last one, 3 of them. Okay, so that part's pretty simple. So I want you to do C, whoopsie, on your own. Okay. And then I will show you how to do 2A, and then I want you to try to do 2B on your own, because once you see how to do 2A, 2B, you'll be able to pick up on it. It says label the shaded fraction, so we're going to label what's shaded, and then draw two different, this is a big word, representations of the same fractional amount. So you're basically taking this row, which right now only has one shape, and you are going to do like they did up here. You're going to draw the rest of them in to find make other ones that are equal. So this one I see 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4. 1/4 is shaded. Okay. And so then where it says write two different representations of the same fractional amount, that means just like we did up here, we had a 2/5 and then another 2/5. Here's a 1/4. They want you to write two different ways to make 1/4. So as long as you have 4 equal pieces and one shaded, there's another way to make 1/4 like this one. And then, I don't know, let's do a circle. 4ths, and then it has to be 1/4, shade in, 1/4 on that one. So you have 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. Okay, so just try B on your own. Write what's shaded down here below it, and then draw 2 other ways to make that same fraction. Okay? All right, that's lesson 20. I'm going to go over here now to 21. If you want to, by the way, if you want to pause the video and finish the lesson 20 stuff that I told you, like finish this one and finish this one on your own, pause it, do those two, and then unpause when I start 21. That's fine. That might be a good idea. Okay, so now I'm going to go into 20. Which is similar to some things we were doing last week, because you can kind of see there are fractions here on this number line. It looks like there's a lot going on here, and there is, but it is the same thing we did last week. You're just putting fractions onto a number line, but they're doing different fractional amounts on the same line. Like if you just glance through it, I see that it goes from 1 to 2. The line goes from, or I'm sorry, not 1 to 2, 0 to 2. But then I see that it has 4ths on it up here at the top. And then I also see that these little dotted lines are 1/8. Okay. So it says, use the fractional units on the left to count up on the number line. Label the missing fractions on the blanks. Okay, so we're just going to do it one fractional unit at a time. So we're going to start with the 4ths. The 4ths are what they're labeling at the top of the number line. So just ignore the bottom right now completely. Pretend like the bottom isn't here. Okay, so the top, we're counting by 4ths. So if I'm at 0, how many 4ths do I have? I have 0 4ths. And then I like to do this thing. Well, here, we'll do that here in a minute. Hold on. The ones that I'm darkening in are the 4ths. Okay, the solid lines. See how like from 0 to 1, if you ignore those little dotted lines, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, 1, 2, 3 lines. So if you just look at these, that's a 4th, a 4th, another 4th, and then here's when you get to 1, you get to 4 4ths. Okay, so here's 1/4, 2 4ths. That would mean this next 4th would be 3 4ths. And then here's 4 4ths. Okay, and then 1 to 2 is my next section, it's my next shape, so it's also in 4ths. I'm going to do the same thing I did. I'm going to darken my 4ths here so they stand out a little. Okay, so remember, here's your 4ths. Here's one of the 4ths, here's another one, here's another one, here's another one. So you can see there's 4 different pieces right there. Okay, so is that 1? That's 4 4ths. This is ignore this. It's an 1/8. We're just doing the 4ths. Here's 4 4ths. That would make this one 5 4ths. This one would be 6 4ths, 7 4ths, 8 4ths. Okay, then we're going to go down and do the bottom part of the line, which is 1/8. So the 0 is already labeled. If you're at 0, you have 0/8. The little dotted ones and these are 1/8. This is an 1/8. This is an 1/8. 1/8, 1/8. Because if you look here, from 0 to 1, you know, a lot of times they overlap. Some of them overlap. So this line is a 4th but it's also going to be part of the eighths too. See how it has that blank? And if you look from 0 to 1, if you divide it now, if we divided from 0 to 1 into eighths, I would have to have 7 lines. Well, I do. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. And if I look at the spaces, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spaces. But that means I have to use the dotted lines and these. Okay? So here's 0/8. Here's 1/8. That would make this one 2/8. 3/8. That would mean that make this one 4/8. And then there's 5/8, 6/8. This one would be 7/8. And then when I got to 1, it has to be 8/8 because it has to have the same numerator and denominator. Okay? 9/8, 10/8, 11/8. This one, 12/8. 13/8, 14/8, 15/8, and then when I got to the 2 wholes, I would have 16/8. Okay. Let's do, I was thinking about doing this part at the bottom for the, no, let's do this first. Let's do thirds first, or the thirds and the sixth. Okay, the next line, same thing. We're just going to worry about one fractional unit at a time. So the top parts are thirds. Okay? So that means the solid lines are just thirds, which makes sense because here's your first section, 0 to 1, your first shape. It's in thirds because it has 1, 2 lines. It has 1/3, a 2/3, and 3/3 here. Here's a third, there's a third, there's a third. Oh, and then I'm at one whole thing. And then from 1 to 2, same thing. Here's a third, here's a third, here's a third. Okay? 1 to 2, they drew 2 lines to make it into 3 pieces. Okay. So I started with my 0 thirds. That would make this 1/3. This would be 2 thirds. Up and now I'm at 1, so I'm at 3 thirds. If I kept going, here's 4 thirds. 5 thirds would be right here. Remember, we're ignoring the little dotted lines because those are only 6. And then what if I kept 6 thirds? Okay? All right. Now, on the bottom, we're going to label the sixths. Now, the sixths are these dotted lines and these, just like above it. Okay, because from 0 to 1, if I'm making sixths, I need 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From 1 to 2, that's one shape. That needs 5 lines if I want it to be in 6 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. So this time you need to use the dotted ones and these for your sixth. If you only use these, 1, 2, 3, that would only be fourths. You have to use the dotted ones and these. Okay, so I'm going to start here at 0. If I'm at 0 and it's broken into sixths, 0 would be 0 sixths. Okay, that would make this first part 1/6. They didn't ask me to do this one. That would be 2/6. This one would be 3/6. That means when I get here, where my blank is, 4/6. Just think these in your head, even though they're not having you write them. This would be 5/6. Oh, and now I'm at one whole, so I would have to have 6 of the 6th. This would be 7/6. Okay, now I need a blank again. 8/6. This would be 9. Oh, I need this one. 10 sixths. This would be 11. Now I'm at 2 wholes, 12 sixths, which again, like we talked about, it makes sense. You have 12 pieces divided into sixths, you would have 2 whole things. 12 divided by 6 is 2 whole things. Okay, so now it looks like this. The next part, you're going to color code it to kind of see where they're equal. It says use the number lines above to color fractions equal to 1 purple. Yellow, blue, green, purple. Yellow, blue, green. I didn't get purple. I got red. Okay. Pause. Hold on 1 second. I need to get purple. Okay, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. I'm putting you down. Okay. Now I have purple. Okay. Color fraction is equal to 1 purple. Now I have a purple. Okay. Anything that's equal to 1. So find your number ones. Here's a 1 I know they're hard to see. Look at all this junk on here. Okay. Here's a 1. So this is equal to 1. And so is this. Okay. Go down to your next line. Find the number 1. This is equal to 1, so it's purple. This is also equal to 1, so it's purple. Color fractions equal to, now I need yellow. I should have told you to pause and get these colors out. If you didn't do that yet, do that. Pause and get out purple, yellow, blue, green. Okay, color fractions equal to 2/4 yellow. So I'm going to look anywhere where it's fourths. I should find something that's 2/4. Okay, well this is obviously equal to 2/4 because it says 2/4. But if you look, this is also equal to it because they overlap. They go just as far down the line from 0. So these two are both equal to 2/4. Now I need blue. Color fractions equal to 2 blue. So find your 2's. Where's 2? 2's the end of your lines for both of them. So this is equal to 2 wholes. This is equal to 2 wholes. 2. This is equal to 2. This is equal to 2. 2 blue. And color fractions equal to 5/3 green. Get your green. 5/3. So I need to find my thirds. So nothing on the top has thirds. This has thirds. 5/3. 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, 4. 5/3 green. Yep, and if you look down, they are in the same spot. They're as far away from 0, so this is also equal to 5/3. 10/6 is equal. Okay. Then it finally write a pair of fractions that are, there's that word I told you you'd see. Equivalent. Write a pair of fractions that are equivalent. Remember, that meant equal. So write a pair that are equivalent. So just find 2 that are the same color, that are the same distance from 0, and write the pair that are equal. So you can do 3/3 is equal to 6/6. You could say 5/3 is equal to 10/6. I'm going to choose, I think I'm going to choose that green one because it's my favorite color. 5/3 is equal to 10/6. Is the same as 10/6. I want you to look at these because this is why they wanted you to write them side by side. If you look at these, you might notice something that makes these equal that will help you later as a clue. Look at 5 and 10, and I want you to think about a way you can get from 5 to 10 for the numerators in a way that you can get from 3 to 6 for the denominators. The reason, and this is like a hint for later, some of you will see it right away. These are equal because you can get to from 5 to 10 the same way you can get from 3 to 6. I want you to think for a minute if there is something that you can do that on the top that you can do to the bottom, something that I can do to get from here to here. And if you're thinking add, oh, add. Okay, well, if I add that 5 plus something, 10. 5 plus 5 would give me 10. Can I do that on the bottom? 3 plus 5 equals 6. No, that doesn't work, so that's not it. Well, okay, it's not add, so it's got to be something else that makes you get something bigger. Well, another way you can get something bigger is to multiply. Okay, so if I'm at 5, how do you get from 5 to 10 if you're multiplying? 5 times what gives you 10? 2. 5 times 2. Can you do the same thing down here to get to 6? 3 times 2, would that give you 6? 3, 6. Yeah, it does. Eureka! We figured something out. Look. Oh, Eureka. Oh, okay. So you're going to start to see, you don't have to write this in there, but it's just a little clue. When we start to do equivalent fractions more, this is going to start to become one of those tricks to figure out when things are equal. Is if you can do something to the top, if you can do that same thing to the bottom, you can do something to the numerator and do that same thing to the denominator, then the fractions are equal. Watch. Let's do, here, 2/4, 4/8. Those are equal. Okay, I'm gonna do this right here. So maybe those of you that are like, oh, right now, 2/4 is equal to 4/8. Well, okay. The math way to figure out that these are equal is the same thing over here. So how did I get, I need to do something to get from 2 to 4. And then I need to be able to do that same thing to get from 4 to 8. So again, let's try. Well, if I add, okay, 2 plus what? 2 plus 2 would give me 4. If I did that down here, 4 plus 2, if I added plus 2, 4, well, that's not going to work. Okay, well, over here I multiplied. Okay, so 2 times what gives me 4? 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So if these are truly equal, I should be able to do this same thing here. 2 times 2 is 4. If I do 4 times 2, does it give me 8? 4, 8. It sure does. That's supposed to be a 2. So there's like your little hint for later as we get to these equivalent fractions. Now, if that's blowing your mind right now, that's okay. That's just for like the people that get this and then they're like, oh, and they're like catching right on. Okay? Right now, all you really, really need to get is that some of them are equal. It's the same amount from 0. Oh, looky here on the back. Okay. Use the number line on the previous page to make the number sentences true. Okay, 1/4 is equal to, okay, flip to the back. 1/4 is equal to what? 2/8. 6/4 is equal to 12 somethings. Okay, so what you need to do is flip back again. 6/4 is going to be the same as 12 somethings. So you need to find 6/4 and see what it's equal to on the line. Find the fourths. 6 fourths is equal to 12. Oh, eighths. Eighths. Okay. Try this one. And then these here. If you use the number lines and just see which ones are the same color and which ones line up in the same spot, you'll be able to do it just fine. All right. Just go back, flip back like I did for these two. Find where this is and find which is equal to it. What is the same color, or what's in the same spot? Not the same color. Find this on the number line. See what it's equal to. What's also in that spot too. Okay? Try it. All right? If you would like to try these, this is a bonus one. Some of you will be able to catch on. You will read this and you will be like, oh, I get it now. Some of you might kind of be like still a little bit like, I'm not really sure about this. And that's okay. Try it if you are like, if this is completely making sense to you, try this. Don't be lazy. If this makes complete sense, try it. If this doesn't make complete sense and you were like, I don't know what you're talking about, Mrs. Beekman, then maybe you're not ready to try this. That's okay too. We will get to this. We're going to go over this together anyway. Okay? Alrighty. Happy mathing.